I get the feeling that they know they've done the hard bit. They've got through the long winter with a lot of points that have given them the gap. But there's been a wee bit of drop-off. And you look at the squad, you look at the bench, you think, maybe not quite as all-encompassing in strength and powerful as maybe they think they are. There's work to be done there. Some of the players, I think, have had a dip, and some might be maybe looking over the shoulder to the summer. But yeah, there's definitely things for Celtic to work about, think about as well.
Swanee, as Mick says, it was Rangers Day. Hugh Dale writes in saying, one of you's called it right. So
I said 3-2. I said 3-2, just the other way around.
And they've had a lot of praise, Rangers, rightly so. But I think it's probably better to start on Celtic. Let me read a couple of comments out to you, and if you're watching at home, please get involved in the comments section below if you want to get involved in the conversation. Kenny Wilson says, Celtic got what they deserved. A team that for weeks now has been playing like they know the league is over. They just need to turn up win games. I jokingly said the game was just a friendly, given the lead, but that's exactly what Celtic seem to be treating it like. That's twice they've lost this very average Rangers side. Paul McCormick follows up by saying, yet again, Celtic fail to get gripped with Rangers flooding midfield, make mistake after mistake. Clement's team did the same. Why are we not learning? That's 9 goals against us so far this season, with another game to come. They bring on a forward who scores the winner. We bring on a very expensive forward who contributed nothing. Just to give it a bit of balance though, Marzuno says, a great man once said, we'll see you in May. And John follows up with saying, remind me which team is still on for the treble and which team is likely to win, hee-haw. So, Swanee, is this maybe in some ways a blessing in disguise for Celtic, a kick up the backside they maybe needed?
Blessing in disguise, I'm not sure that's the right phrase. Kick up the backside, I'm not sure that's the right phrase either. I think it's just a reminder that you have to be on it every single game if you want to win. If you want to win matches, and that just doesn't go for Rangers games. And anytime you slip below, you're in danger of putting yourself in a bit of trouble. And Celtic can get away with it on occasion. They have got away with it on occasions this season when they haven't played as well. But Rangers have shown that if Celtic aren't up to their levels and they don't hit the levels, that they're capable of punishing them. But I think that's something Celtic would have known anyway. I think in the grand scheme of things, listen, we all talked about it in the build-up to the game, and it's the thing that Celtic supporters have been saying mainly through the day and in the lead-up to the game. I think one of the comments there was, see you in May, and that is, at the end of the day, that is the big picture. Celtic are more than likely to walk away with 3 trophies this year. So, there is, we can talk all we like about lines in the sand and warning shots and this, that, and the next thing, but at the end of the day, Celtic are going to walk away with the prizes, and it's been shown for the majority of the major games when it's come to the crunch when Celtic have played Rangers, that Celtic have been the ones that have got it done. So I wouldn't think there's any cause for any sort of major alarm. Certainly some alarm though, and Michael touched on it. Losing 3 goals in 3 successive matches against Rangers isn't clever, and that's not good. And I don't know what that suggests. I don't know what it says. I don't know whether people don't do their jobs properly or get a wee bit frenzied in the atmosphere or lose their way a wee bit. I'm not sure. But that shouldn't really be happening to a Celtic team. Not when you consider that they can go into Champions League games and they can go to Munich and just about get through with a clean sheet before they lose one in stoppage time, yet they're just shipping goals to Rangers for fun. So I'm not sure what the situation is there. Are they too open? I don't know. Maybe they think they can just go and win the game. They impart their way onto the game and they'll just win it. Maybe that's something that might have to change, but I don't think Celtic have got any reason for alarm. I would agree with Michael. I looked at Celtic's bench yesterday, and they aren't as strong as what many people would make them out to be if you get certain guys out injured. But I think Brendan Rodgers is fully aware of that. Michael and I sat together at Villa Park when Brendan Rodgers was forced to bring Dane Murray on at the end. Mm-hmm. No offence to Dane Murray, but that's not the Champions League level they need to be at. They need to be in a position where they're making the changes, and the same goes for the Premiership. So, I think lessons will be learned. They have to be learned. I mean, Celtic talked all week in the build-up to the game about the heart of the game at Ibrox and how they would be fired up by that. Well, clearly not fired up enough. So, what will be really interesting is the final Celtic Rangers game of the season at Ibrox. Because Celtic really will be fired up, or if they're not, they should be, whether or not the league's done and dusted by then or not, because you don't want to be winning you want to be winning the title in a bit of style. You don't want to have lost 3 games to Rangers while you've done it, even though in the grand scheme of things, the team with the most points wins the league. But they'll want to go to Ibrox and put on a show in that last game. And if Rangers can beat them again, then it might be a bit more to the warning shot brigade. But I'm not really sure about it at the moment.
Well, Mick, just before I bring you back in there, let me just read out Celtic's bench for anyone that hasn't. Obviously, Ida come on, Yang come on, Greg Taylor was there, Sinisalo, the backup goalie, obviously. But after that, Johnny Kenny, Dane Murray, Ralston, Jude Bonner and Francis Turley. So I mean, anyone looking at that, I do think, is there the depth there? I mean, I would throw into that as well, and I took a little bit of stick after the show last night for saying that I think we might have seen Dyson Maida's final Old Firm game at Celtic Park. I mean, his quote yesterday, and I've got it actually here, funnily enough, when he was asked, it was in the pre-match show on Sky Sports, he was asked about his future, and he said, well, I'm not sure, that's a difficult question. While I'm here, I'll always want to fight and play for Celtic. It didn't exactly fill me with the belief that he will be here beyond the summer.
No, but why would he be? When the whole Celtic model is you come in, you do well, you perform, you win trophies, and you get sold. If he in that interview says, no, you know what, I've got a nice wee house in Ayrshire, I'm going to camp in for the next 10 years, I'm going nowhere. They'd be like, what's the point? They've got the boardroom full of their chairs. That's not the point. That's not how it works.
That's a fair point.
So I don't think there's a problem. And listen, he's 27. I mean, if there's depends on. Again, I've said this before. This show as well. It depends on what the offers on the table, because he's worth so much to Celtic. It has to be a sensational offer to cash in them. Yeah. And he's a guy who you don't need to worry about him getting his head turned or worrying about something elsewhere, because he's not. It's not his nature. He's an absolute workhorse. I thought he was one of the few that get pass marks on Sunday. Is it his last one at Celtic Park? Quite possibly. If Celtic a bid for 20 million quid in the summer, then it's you have to say thanks for the memories and good luck. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Because that's the model. That's how you bring in players for 1.5 million on the promise of, if you do well, we give you a platform and you can go and make 70 grand a week somewhere else down the line.
And the thing is,
that's not a problem.
I was just going to say, the thing is it 3.5 years he will have given Celtic by the end of the season?
2022 arrived,
You know, arrived for absolute pennies.
He's an amazing player. The only reason I made that point is just when I said, look at the depth or the lack of depth on the bench. Plus, there's a couple of players, Hatate as well, perhaps. Although, as I've put up on the screen there, Marzino says, don't forget Bernardo, Forrest, McGregor, Trusty, Scales as well. So I think that's definitely worth mentioning.
Yeah, there's a few out, but it did leave them a bit threadbare in terms of the bench. I think, listen, as always with Celtic, the wheels keep turning, players come and go, and recruitment is key. And I think, listen, there has been an issue with recruitment in recent years that the wheels haven't turned as quickly and as smoothly as they should have done. I still don't think the January window was up to much either. I know that they brought back Jota, lined up Kieran Tierney and brought in Jeffrey Schlupp. I still think that they needed more. I think that it was late in the window in August as well. I think to keep those wheels turning, I think a striker, letting Kyogo go in January without a replacement lined up was just a bit silly. I mean, really? I mean, it was just like, just God forbid Celtic were only 5 points clear at that point. That happened. There'd have been folk banging pitchforks at the gates.
Surely, sorry to jump in, surely they wouldn't have allowed it to happen if that was the case.
But then again, so why allow it to happen? Because the gap at that point was about 11 points, or whatever it was. It's okay to sell your best striker and not have a replacement lined up. It didn't make sense. It's a bit, and that is definition of a bit of arrogance. Well, we'll be fine. I mean, it's not fine because they're asking Maida to go and do a shift in the middle, and after an hour, they bring on a sub, and he goes to the wing and plays 90 minutes. So at some point, he is going to hit a wall. It might already be close to hitting a wall at this point in time, because he's the one who's has to do 2 jobs every game. It's not to do a shift up front for an hour, then go off, or do a shift in the wing, then go off. It's do a shift up front and then go play wing to allow somebody else to go up front. Yeah. Because he's been asked. And it's clear that Brendan Rodgers doesn't see Adam Idah as his main striker. Mm-hmm. So if he doesn't see him as main striker now, he didn't back then in January. They had to go and get a striker, and Rodgers knew that, and he asked for that and didn't get it. And that has a knock-on effect throughout the team as well, because Kuhn is clearly not the same player he was up until January. Maybe he could do with a break, but he can't take a break because Celtic need that balance through this period, and he's played through it, and he's had a dip. There's no doubt he's a dip. I thought he was poor on Sunday. Yeah. But they can't really manage that dip, because then it's, who do you put in the right flank? Okay, we'll play Yang, maybe, but a game like against Rangers, who we go there? We'll put Maida and then Jota. So Maida again's a third job to do. So Maida's the guy filling the gaps in for Celtic's lack of activity in the transfer window.
Yeah, and these wheels, Michael, had better be oiled from a Celtic point of view for as soon as this window opens, because we've spoken about it on here before. There can't be last gasp in the window this year, because the Champions League qualifiers are back on the menu.
Yeah,
and for the